your host Kulin Nayab, and you're watching my program which is called as Business Lounge. This program is, as like I told you all the time, that this is basically a new initiative by MS Department, and we tend to discuss the topics which are the current need of our students. Today we have very prestigious guests in my studio, Sir Khalid and Miss Maliha. And the topic for our discussion today is financial future of higher education institutions in Pakistan and responsibility leadership of higher education institution in this regard. Before I request my guests to please have a conversation regarding that topic, I would like to introduce them. Sir Khalid happens to be a director of a leadership development center. He has been an HOD previously of MS Department. He's taught finance and research at undergrads, grads and postgrads level. He has been an active researcher, trainer and a consultant with corporate development and NPOs. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
Ms. Maliha has served in various capacities as a business researcher, relationship officer, financial officer and analyst in Citibank and Askari Bank. She has served as deputy director in Pakistan Telecom Authority, served as tax volunteer in Canada Revenue Agency. She's a writer, she's a poet, she's a singer and she's a composer. She's serving as a senior lecturer in Bahria University currently. She has 9 years of corporate experience and 4 years of teaching experience. Assalamu alaikum, Maliha.
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And sir, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, like I said today, the discussion of the topic that we've chosen is about financial, the future of financial in terms of the contribution of higher education institution towards it. So knowledge economy has been a buzzword in today's century, and in my humble opinion, I think higher educations have an immense contribution towards creating the knowledge. How far do you think that has been able to achieve?
I think it's a little premature to say that how much has been achieved in this regard, but
Right.
We generally look towards West when we really try to draw some future direction.
Right.
Now, one thing is very clear, that West has capitalized on knowledge,
Okay.
and the key behind their economic strength is that they know things first than we do.
Okay.
And Malia would agree when we talk of these financial markets even,
Right.
maybe it's in hardcore financial terms, but
Okay.
when information is asymmetric, it means that some people know and some don't.
Right.
So those who know, they benefit more than those who don't.
True.
So in terms of knowledge economy, I mean those economies which have a stronger knowledge base have actually excelled, and West is
Right.
example.
Okay.
So, but since those are few economies, so globe has not achieved that knowledge globe status.
Right.
But we have seen that economic disparity exists, and that one of the contributing factor may be that knowledgeables have more wealth now. They're
They have more
economically
wealth now.
stronger
Right.
than those who don't have that knowledge.
Okay. Sir, do you think it has been profitable for the states to fund these higher education institutions? And if you think not, then how can these higher education institutions actually present an argument whereby they can get a fund from these government or non-government sources?
We need to define first what states think as profit.
Right, right.
If you talk in hardcore terms of GDP or GNP or economic indicators,
Right.
the profit is value.
The profit is value. Okay.
If you talk in hardcore financial terms, profit is what you save at the end of the day. If you talk in terms of society, profit is the contribution.
Right.
Now, state looks at this profitability from all angles,
Okay.
but from third world, or I should say underdeveloped countries, the profit is measured in terms of their economic well-being.
Okay.
Now, education, or especially higher education, is an intangible investment,
Absolutely. Yeah.
which does not have imminent returns.
True.
You make a house, you spend let's say 50 million, it's constructed in a year's time, you rent it out, the cash flow starts coming in.
Right.
You educate a student for 10 years, the return would come maybe after 10-20 years.
Absolutely.
since the underdeveloped countries generally not by choice but by compulsion become short-sighted.
Right.
So they do not really acknowledge these long-term profits as profits. They're stuck into their imminent returns.
Right.
So that's why no matter how much intellectually we agree with this argument that knowledge economy or investment in education,
right,
the ground reality is that a person needs food first.
Absolutely, the basic
education
necessity of life. Yeah.
And that's a reality.
That is absolutely
and we can't
reality.
Really deny that.
True, absolutely. Malia, as you're aware of the fact that recently Bahria University has initiated this summer placement program whereby we send faculty to these industrial experiences. What do you think? Do you think our students have benefited from this? Our say like experience being in different say like industry and firms. Do you think students are actually benefiting from this experience of ours?
Yeah, it depends on what you call benefit first. I entered the class on my first day of taking a lecture, and what I actually got the feedback from students was that they were not sure why they were studying a particular course. Like, I was going to deliver the lecture and I asked them, why have you taken up this particular course? And they said that, ma'am, we are not sure what we are doing here.
Right.
Now, when you go to a corporate sector and you want to apply for a job, that is the basic question they ask you, why are you here?
Exactly.
What do you want to do?
Exactly.
So I had to tell them that, look, when you graduate, when you pass out, you need to have an image in mind. You need to develop a focus first of all.
True.
Now, you go for an interview, so I have to guide them. When I went for my summer placement, so they actually thought that I was a student. And I had to explain my position to them that, look, I'm a faculty member. I'm going to be representing my university, and that's the initiative that we have taken. So Bahria University right now is taking the lead.
Right.
And that is also, placing us ahead of other universities. They may be leading universities, but over here the onus goes to Bahria University.
Absolutely.
And I have groomed my students. Now, when I came back, those blank faces, I could actually see some color of hope in them, because they could see themselves, moving forward somewhere from here. They did not want to be, very professional sound in a way that they did not want to have any certifications.
Right.
And they were very jittery at the start, but now then actually they think that what they are going to do is going to give them some, hope of being employed somewhere.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then they can when they appear for interview, now they know what is going to be expected of them.
And what say, like, if you see the other side of a table, how is the industry being benefited? Is it like a win-win situation? We are having a personal and professional growth, and what is the benefit that they're getting out of this
yes
program?
But before that, I would definitely add here that when I went there, my skills they were really impressed, because their own people were not as skilled as an instructor. When you impart knowledge to students, you are current, up to date with that particular thing. You are up to date with the use of the softwares. You're well equipped with the latest information.
Absolutely.
That is, because you are always in touch with foreign universities.
Absolutely.
In in US and Canada, they have the academic side covered with the professional one. So when their students are in bachelor, they get the certification, and then they can easily transit to the corporate side. Over here, we need to first of all form a linkage. Yes, there is a break right now between the professional as well as academic side, but this is the first step towards bridging that. So win-win in the sense that they also want a skilled labor, and we are there to provide them that. But we need to groom our students, because they're really bad in English.
They were really bad at communication.
So I'm going to, in the future also, I'm going to try to, make them come up to that level. But this process is slow, so they usually are very, I have to be adamant, because they lose hope. They have this motivation, but that motivation is not long term.
Absolutely.
You have to keep that impetus, and you have to keep the drive going, so that they can rise in, because language is something, it is very you can't just learn it in a short run. It has to grow. It's a you have to keep your skills
up and running. It's a continuous learning.
Yes, you have to hone them in a way that it's a tedious process.
It is a tedious
you need to have a lot of patience for that. So it's a win-win situation. In the future, I see it as a long-term effect for this skilled workers industry, especially because Pakistan is service-based.
Right.
In Karachi, you can say it's manufacturing, but in Pakistan, largely it's service sector. And if our students graduate from here and they can say, look, we are doing it from the university, which was first in sending their faculty towards the corporate side, and we are training them now. We don't need
Right.
external trainers. We can train these students ourselves and groom and refine them. Yeah.
Very well said. Sir, normally this finance is a word which is like a fear factor for students.
Starts with F.
Start with
Fear
F,
and finance.
exactly, exactly. And Sibit, since I've done homework of my guest, the one I invite, but आपके बारे में कहा जाता है कि you play with finance, you play with numbers, because it is a very dry subject. So how do you get this fear out of the students? And I'm sure you have actually, succeeded in doing so. I've not been your student, but I've known from the word of mouth that you actually make them love the subject, which normally is not a lovable subject. What do you have to say about it?
I think we draw our inspirations from our own experiences, right?
Right.
You said fear factor. I was a left-arm fast bowler when I was in FC college.
Oh, okay.
And if you recall our batsman Yunus Yohanna,
जी जी बिल्कुल
जिसका
सर.
नाम बाद में change हो गया.
जी जी बिल्कुल.
He used to be our senior,
अच्छा.
and he used to make me bowl day long. He used to practice on my bowling.
Okay.
But I was a worst batsman.
अच्छा.
That cricket ball would haunt me like anything,
अच्छा.
and I was so afraid. When Yusuf came to know this,
Yeah.
he made me hold the bat, and he said, "You have to hit the ball no matter you see it, you don't see it."
Right.
He
right.
broke my fear for the ball, and I think within a couple of months' time, I started playing with the ball. So fear, जो होता है ना, finance is a fear.
Finance is a fear.
If you
yes.
keep on throwing that ball of fear on students and you don't enable them to play with the ball, job is not done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you like it, you don't like it. All of us come through these figures: earnings, profits,
Bilkul,
saving,
bilkul,
investment,
this is something which we're
losses,
doing on a daily
our
basis.
lives.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So a basic understanding, regardless if you are a business graduate, you are not a business graduate, you are an engineer, basic understanding of handling finances it lies within us, we know that, but
True.
it needs to be brought to surface.
True.
All I do is I close the book for first 4 lectures and talk to them
Yeah.
in terms of their financial greed. They're hooked on.
Right.
Once they're hooked on,
Yeah.
then I play with their greed.
Right.
And then they really understand that
You actually need to really connect with the students
Yeah,
to
you
get
do.
to know them. You need to know your
Yeah.
first,
Exactly.
and then them.
we should not tell them that I'm here to complete these 16 chapters.
Absolutely.
And
That becomes
this
the fear
is-
already
this is
then.
4 chapters every month,
Yeah.
16 lectures, 1 chapter every lecture.
True. True. Absolutely.
If you sit with them and tell them, look,
Yeah.
books, my God, they're difficult. Course outline, my God, 4 GPA. Forget
Yeah.
about this. Let's talk. Let's sit and talk.
This is how.
They're with you.
Yeah. No wonder, sir, you've been absolutely known faculty member around, and people who have actually been your students, they talk really high about
I think
you.
that's kind of them.
No, because this speaks for itself.
And one more thing, I think I once saw a small video or a picture where a bird is feeding his, what do you call a small bird?
Right. The
So,
baby bird.
The baby bird.
Yeah. Okay.
And probably it was a mother or father, probably. He was chewing the food
Right.
and the baby was eating that food from his beak.
Okay.
I think a good teacher has to make things digestible.
Wow.
If you can't make them digestible, do you think that students would digest these
Exactly.
concepts?
So
No matter it's finance or HR or marketing
Exactly.
or geology or
Yeah,
sciences
yeah.
or things like that. And
I
so
think
that is what I think
I think
teachers
that
should be
was
doing.
actually a beautiful example to quote. This is how you have to connect your students with.
Yeah.
Normally, they would only listen to you if you were in their place, if you put yourself in their shoe. Because वही बात है हर तरह के हर level के students हैं. To get connected, you need to come to their place first.
Yeah, do.
So very informative, beautiful example. But I would like to continue after a very short break. So we'll come back after a short break. Assalamualaikum. Welcome back after the break. You're watching my show, which is called as Business Lounge, and I am your host, Gulanaya. We have 2 very important guests today in my studio. Sir Khalid Mumtaz happens to be a director LDC, and Miss Maliha, Beg happens to be a senior lecturer in Bahria University. We were having a very interesting discussion before the break. I would continue with Sir Khalid again. Sir, we're talking about higher education institutions.
Yeah.
What do you think is the responsibility of these institutions in terms of leadership?
I once came across a book which is Reframing Academic Leadership. I don't recall the name of author.
Right.
But I realized that in the leadership domain, quite a significant responsibility rests with HEIs.
Right.
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 Especially in society like ours, where Pada Likha Insan is respected more relatively.
True.
That's why people, students in our country, they almost masters is a usual thing for students.
True.
So HEIs have in addition of creating knowledge ideally,
Right.
they have, I think, a strong responsibility towards at least grooming, training and providing leadership in all domains of the society.
Right. Right.
It's not that we are just providing tuition or we are providing degrees or maybe a skill that the students would go in their own ventures, in jobs and enterprising ventures. Some of them will be politicians someday,
Absolutely.
engineers, doctors,
Absolutely.
some CEOs.
Yeah.
They would assume some leadership roles someday.
Right.
So how can we just part ways with that HEIs don't have a role in leadership?
Absolutely.
If you are teaching someone for 6 years,
Right.
4 years,
Yeah.
8 years,
True.
it's a significant time.
True. Absolutely. So what is the future of these HEIs in wake of insufficient funding, which we just talked about, before the break? So what do you think what is their, say, like, future when we talk about insufficient funding? जो आपने खुद ही कहा है.
I was talking to a class of my students a few days back.
Right.
Since I happen to discuss lots of things in class,
Right.
in addition of finance, it's society or sometimes
Good.
little
Great.
about religion, little about practice, little about
No wonder they enjoy your
psychology,
class.
right?
Right.
So I told them if you go through Muslim history,
Right.
they were best when they were hungry. When they didn't have to eat, they were best, right? So I told them, and I was talking to them about Jews.
Right.
Poverty kills Jews. Being rich doesn't kill them,
Absolutely.
but being rich kills Muslims. That's my own opinion, right?
No, I agree. I agree.
Maybe it might be
बिल्कुल
wrong.
सर.
So it's the time that when funding drains, that's our testing time.
Right.
Now HEIs have that responsibility to prove that they are wise enough to sustain in the hard times. I'm deep down happy, by the way, on this scenario.
Okay.
Now it's time for them to prove that
Right.
can they be sustainable. They have to find the ways and means.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a state like us where education budget is not as much as it should be,
This should have been, yeah.
we should stop looking at, please give me money to educate people.
Absolutely.
Should generate funds for
yes.
educate people.
Bilkul. This is
I
a
mean,
basic
if you are not
necessity.
educating people to be self-sustainable,
Yeah.
you have to be self-sustainable by your own self. You should know how to be self-sustainable
Absolutely.
as an HEI.
Absolutely. True. True.
Sir, I have to interject here. I mean,
Please do,
Please,
please do.
please,
yeah,
please.
the point is that you can't always be sustaining yourself in the wake of huge funding required by the university, because they have to provide more justification if they are dependent on foreign sources for funding. Like, for instance, if our university has to rely on government bodies for funding, then they have to justify why do they need those funds. Then they will do more audits of the university, then more burden on the teachers to prove that they are totally perfectionists, and that is going to create further negativity for the teachers, because that's a demotivating factor. I think that they should have some leverage. I think foreign countries give that much leverage to the universities. So just this little hitch, that's all.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Would you?
I would not really take a opposite view, but when we say foreign countries, the dynamics are different. The resource pool is different. We have to compete with them, fortunately or unfortunately. It's a
Right.
global world now, with whatever resources we've got.
Right.
And we need to stand, maybe compete with them on the same ground with even lesser resource pool.
Right.
We need to devise the ways and means. We can't really have an excuse that मेरे पास resources नहीं है,
नहीं है.
तो मैं भाग नहीं सकता.
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही है. हाँ.
I
बिल्कुल.
mean,
हाँ.
nobody would bother you have it.
Yeah.
When you are on that ground to play, if it's a football match, If a player उसने नाश्ता नहीं किया, does not actually मैंने नाश्ता नहीं किया, मैं खेल नहीं सकता.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to play, he has to perform.
Exactly.
Yes,
So now it's time. Now we compete with managers. Our students compete with students across the globe in terms of their skill, their ability, their disposition.
Yeah, we are at par. Absolutely.
So it doesn't. They don't have excuse of saying that my country is poor country and I did not have funding, so I would not compete.
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल.
And if you see, our students compete well. They compete well.
Absolutely, बिल्कुल. I agree totally. बिल्कुल. Malia, the accounting research has not been given as much importance as this is what in my humble opinion. What do you see the future of it?
Yeah, well, basically, I think as far as financial, sector, studying that sector is concerned and doing research in that. Other than that, also the doctorate level education is quite lacking. To be very honest, there is no PhD accounting program which is structured. I would say in universities in all over Pakistan. So when people like me, if they want to do any kind of research, we don't have supervisors. So unfortunately, we are without that.
So you agree to this thing that in accounting
we need that kind of support basically. So for instance, I'll just give you an example of a recent venture by Bahria University. They are collaborating with Air Force in Aviation City, and they are going to be having that research pool over there. They are going to shift their people over there. They are going to do research along with the forces. So I think we collaborate with the Navy, Air Force, Army, and you can have some input there, because they are going to be opening universities, and the whole Aviation City is going to be a beautiful patching up of all the resources, and then trying to make a a bigger picture of research which is well directed, because you need resources, you need funding, you need knowledge. Then they can also import skilled workers from abroad for this, especially for the field of accounting and finance, because I have some examples over here where they tried to do research and that research was not fruitful, because they had to eventually move out of the country, especially for accounting and finance. Just 1 or 2 universities in entire Pakistan, but that program is not as recognized. And we also need to look for international comparison. Then we need to have that standing. But that can only come if we have more skilled labor.
I think there is one more reason for accounting research. Accounting certification bodies are more established globally than accounting degrees, higher education degrees in accounting. If I talk of local example, the child accountancy program in Pakistan or the cost accountancy program in Pakistan is far more established than masters in accounting. Now you talk of ICAP, child accountants, you talk of ICMA, cost accountants, you talk of CIMA or ICAW or CPA. These are all certifying accounting bodies across the globe. Now these bodies train a 12 years education background student. They take 6 years to train him to be an accountant. If you talk of child accountancy, they come with a hands-on experience, which universities lack. Now that's why certifying bodies produced accountants are far more sellable in the market as compared to a 4 years accounting degree graduate from a university. He lacks practical experience. That's where universities would struggle. And it would take them quite a muscle to compete with the certifying bodies. And you see the disconnect. I mean, if a child accountant walks into university, we don't recognize him. Say it's a certification. HEC does not recognize ICAP. Lately, they probably have started equating them to MCOM. So that's why since certifying bodies are stronger, and their research has been more applied in nature. Universities are more academic research in nature. So you find lesser pool of resources on accounting research with the universities as compared to a pool of applied research in accounting with the certifying bodies.
Yeah, but when I went to Canada, sir, the thing is that what I saw was their bachelor's in accounting students had the certification given to them just because of their bachelor's. Now we need to structure the programs in a way that ICAP is forced to in fact recognize the bachelor's. Yes, exactly, amalgamation in a way which will actually entail this whole process as make it into a single track rather than multi-track, and then being offensive with one another, as we can see the struggle with ACCA students not being able to go inside. So there is so much diversity, there is a rift in between. we need to
But I think it's happening
integrate
now.
all that.
For example, the accounting bodies exempt the courses for.
But they're not
business
letting them in
students.
for gateway. We need to have
But yeah, there is
pathways.
level. But
graduate
it started
pathways.
happening. I think convergence
Yeah.
could take place in time.
Yes,
True.
hopefully so.
And for countries like us, a developing country, how important this accounting and finance is for the future students, and how do you even motivate the students to come towards this field? Again, it's a fear factor. I mean, like, I remember I did my BBA in finance 4 years, and then I didn't pursue this career further because I thought I'm not a numbers person. So how would you motivate a student to continue their master's program in finance? And bring
Yes,
them
by demotivating them to do masters in a program in which they would be lesser confident to get a job, to secure a job. Because I always tell them that every department has a finance, every company has a finance department.
right.
You can always land in a finance department. If you are doing, like for instance, when I was in Citibank, I was doing marketing.
Same.
I'm not going to be demotivating them, to switch their area of interest. But I do tell them the importance of finance.
Exactly.
That I lay more emphasis on the fact that once you're an MBA finance or a master's or an MSc in finance, you can maybe secure a marketing job. But if you are maybe MBA, or maybe unsure, and then you leave the program in the middle, you might do some other degree. Come back later to this track, you will not be able to land a job.
Right.
They are more prone towards leaving it in the middle, going towards sales. And I tell them, I landed a sales job.
Right.
I was on, it is a temporary high. You get a lot of money, you get commission, but you can't sustain that high. You see, ultimately you're hit with a low.
Yeah.
And I remember when in 2002, I used to earn to the tune of 70,000 rupees, just at the age of I think 21 or 22. So yes, that is a very motivating factor for them.
Then you should be rich lady by now.
And she is actually.
Till the time I hit my low, actually.
Right. Malia, do you see joblessness of students linked with the financial crisis?
Ultimately, it is.
Achha.
It's like a staring, chimera which is staring at you in the face in a way that can hit you eventually. Not in the short term, because as I said already, Islamabad is a service-based sector.
Right.
It is diversified, industrially. However, the skilled labor that we want, we lack that, right? Other than that, the financial crisis is arising because of many other things. For instance, in Karachi, the manufacturing sector, the labor is basically 60% of our labor is employed in the manufacturing sector, especially the textile sector, right? So our students are not trained enough to be going towards the textile, because we are offering them degrees in management sciences, engineering, electrical. So this can contribute to an excessive supply when there is low demand, right? Secondly, in Pakistan, you have to see the real estate sector, which is rising quite rapidly. So self-employment is also on the rise. So this can probably sustain the pressure. But financial crisis, in terms of not exploiting the resources of the country, they need to be given such moral code that they will help in the process that can save the country from disasters like this Reko. You're not actually exploiting or mining the resources over there, worth of 20 million ounces of gold and 2 billion tons of copper in Reko. Especially, you have a lot of reserves, and 78% of marble, is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
You should be a statistician.
No, sir, because all the machinery, they are importing all the machinery because of lack of skilled labor. We can actually use that labor. Now, our marble is exported, but they are the ones who are actually distributing. Italy is distributing it throughout the world. Why? Because we don't have the polishing machinery for it. So our students are not being given the direction to follow, and we are not developing. There are no just IPPs, circular debt, and I definitely see a financial crisis in Pakistan. But yes, and due to shutting down of industrial units, so service-based sector cannot sustain all the this ample supply of labor. We need to also churn up this manufacturing side, our industrial units that are sleeping or dying because of lack of electricity, water crisis. There are no desalination plants. There is no strategy by the government. I'm trying to raise awareness at my level, but I do see that unemployment eventually in all sectors, not just the service sector, because they are not being absorbed. The students are not being absorbed anywhere. So this can burgeon in the process in the future also.
Can I take an opposing view, by the way?
Sure,
yes, sure.
Let's start with the crisis. And let me give you some concrete examples. energy crisis,
Say.
right? We experience that. Atta crisis, we experience that,
We do that, yeah.
right?
We do experience that. Yeah.
We experience every crisis every now and then.
Yep.
Now, we don't look at that. What was the result of energy crisis?
Right.
A whole alternate energy sector emerged.
IPPs?
No, not IPPs, right? I mean, whole alternate energy sector. You may start
Yes,
from the batteries, UPS,
Yes.
generators,
Yeah.
windmills, solars. So
True.
every crisis, every problem comes with an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Now, what
yeah.
happens with us is, as at higher education, as a society, we love discussing crisis, and we love it,
Yeah.
absolutely love it,
Yeah.
and we do the same thing in HEIs,
Acha.
right? Now, as an instructor, my interest should be talking to students. Look, this is the crisis. Good, and I should rather ridicule crisis. Now, crisis hai. Now, let's resolve it. If we keep on beating around crisis in the entire class,
Yeah.
we promote negativism.
Yeah, because we're not coming to the solution. We're
It
talking
does-
about
it
the
is our-
problem.
No,
Yeah,
the solution
it's our
is bringing the
inability.
machinery to at least polish the marble and then send it. We can earn lots of
It's
billions of
only-
dollars.
It's only timings. If we are unable to perceive the opportunity hidden in a crisis, we'll see only crisis.
Sir, we milk the same cow over and over again. I mean, look at the real estate sector. The government put so
Sell
much
the
tax.
cow. Make it.
Sell the
it
cow.
for meat.
That is
Right?
the tagline.
if you can't milk the cow,
Yeah.
make
Sell it then. Solution.
Sir,
bring it to meat industry.
Yeah.
Sir, billions of rupees worth of real estate. You can't sell it.
That's a separate question.
That's
Somebody.
a separate question. Sir, very interesting, sir. बहुत मजा आया, Malia. It was really interesting.
Thank you very much.
But before I finish my program, I would have a quick backfire round with you both, if you
Hope
please
I-
allow me.
Should I put on a helmet?
Can I win a basket?
Okay, interesting guest. Okay, so can I start with you first?
Please.
You just have to answer a few questions that I'm going to ask you, and you don't have much time to answer it. Don't think much and just
Okay.
answer whatever comes to your
Okay.
mind first. How would you impress someone?
By just not talking.
By not talking.
Yeah.
So I don't think so.
Non-verbal communication.
Non-verbal communication. Oops. Okay. Right. Brain or beauty?
Both, please.
You gotta choose one.
No, nothing.
cannot have
nothing
all.
without brain. Sorry.
Right. Red or blue?
Red.
Cold or hot?
Sorry.
Cold or hot?
Hot.
Hot. Islamabad United or Peshawar Zalmi?
I'm not into it. I'm sorry.
You're not into it? Okay. Rate yourself from 1 till 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest.
On what?
On your personality. How would you rate your personality from 1 to 10?
God gave me 10.
Okay. Wow.
God
No wonder
gave me
you're a
10.
perfectionist.
God gave me 10. I think God gave me 10.
Wow. Okay. Right. Love at first sight or love in the air?
It happens even without a sight. No rational, no logic. It should happen.
Okay. If not Bahria, then?
Entrepreneur. Business.
Okay, an entrepreneur. Right. Perfect. Well played, sir.
Thank you.
Malia, are you ready?
Trying to be
Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words.
honest, upright.
Right.
तीसरा लफ्ज़ भी है.
Okay. I would say perceptive, intuitive,
Intuitive. Okay. Quality of life or quantity of life?
quality.
Quality. Your nickname?
Mel,
Mel. Okay. Fast. Fast or slow?
in what?
Just a term. Fast or slow?
Medium.
Medium. There wasn't an option, but ठीक है.
That's a wise answer actually.
Nice answer, actually. Okay. Winter or summers?
Winters.
Winters. Arranged marriage or love marriage?
Love.
Love. Okay. Rational or intuitive?
Intuitive.
Intuitive. Dr. Ali or Sir Khalid?
That's a hard choice.
You gotta choose.
Say Ali.
You gotta choose.
Please say Ali.
Can I have a general knowledge question?
This is a general knowledge, trust me. Every knowledge
That's a
comes
tough
from
question.
I
there.
can't answer this question. They're
You
too
have
good.
to.
He's an ex-HOD.
No,
he
no,
is
no,
my
no,
current
choose
HOD.
Choose the current one. That's politically wise.
No, you gotta choose one.
Dr.
And why
Nadia.
do you
Dr.
choose?
Nadia.
No, no, it wasn't in the option.
You know, she opts for MCQ, which is some other answer.
Right. No, you have to choose one. Dr. Ali or Dr. Khalid? Sir Khalid.
In terms of my mentor, definitely Dr. Ali.
Right.
And in terms of my friend, definitely Sir Khalid.
Sir Khalid.
It's
Okay.
again a wise answer. I mean, you're selecting.
She doesn't want to answer it actually. No,
So I asked her, in what sense?
Right. Very well played, Sir Malia. बड़े आपके मजेदार. It wasn't the option, but you tried to give one.
Yes.
Malia, मैं ऐसा छोड़ती नहीं हूँ क्योंकि मैं I always wind up my program with a small little message from you to the audience listening to us, and normally we have students listening to us, we have faculty, HUDs and the headquarter. So I would want you guys to give a small little message, but before that, as per your profile says that you're a singer, you're a musician, you're a composer,
Wow.
you're a poet. Could you please prove it somehow?
Right now, I think I'm not able to sing, but
Anything which says
yeah, I have this small, because I have my poetry. It's on net. It's by the name of Allah. If you can just, yes, you just Google Maliha Beg and just write Allah, it'll come up.
Achha.
I also had other by the name of Solace. I think they've just, turned down the link or something, and they were just, I don't know, the link was down when I tried
well,
to
that's
search
fine.
it.
We just want
Yes.
you to just say a few lines of
But
it.
the Urdu portion, I can just say that ए इश्क़ मजाजी गर देता तू मोहल्लत इतनी तो हम भी तेरे मजाज होते दियारे यार में दिलदारे यार होते सवाल ये यार ना होते बस वही तेरा अहदे वफा होता और हम यूं ही आशना यार होते.
Wow.
क्या तशरीह करेंगे?
So मुझे समझ आ रही है.
आप आ गई? मुझे तो 8th क्लास की उर्दू याद आ गई तो तशरीह करनी आई थी.
Yeah, actually I wasn't mentally prepared for it. That's why otherwise I would have definitely.
It is part of a backfire round. Let's
Yeah,
pause
yeah.
there.
Yeah, because my throat is right now not in perfect order. So for singing you need to have that kind
Yeah.
I can imagine that had that in perfect, you would
That
actually
pitch, the
killed me with that voice.
of that perfect pitch is not there. Otherwise I would have
Right.
definitely.
Okay,
sung
no
for you.
worries. I think nonetheless it was great. Before I let go of you guys, first of all, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much, Malia, for coming, sparing your time. I know you're a very busy person, sir. Now you're a
Am I?
director. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, but I would like you to give a small little message to the audience viewing us. What would you like to say to them?
I'll tell them what I do daily.
Yeah.
Maybe not daily, but every now and
What
then.
would you like to say to your students listening to you right now?
Yeah, go home, look at your hands like this,
Okay.
right, and look
Babe
them,
and
and look at them hard
Right.
and very hard.
Right.
That's a unique set of hands and fingerprints. Nobody has them.
Wow. You said
And
it
in
all.
the entire
actually.
world, nobody has them. You're
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah.
So believe in it.
Hmm.
Replicate this to your mind, to your personality. You're unique.
Wow.
And the day you realize, you'll be successful.
Wow. Well
Yes.
said. This is what I'm
Yeah.
going to do today. Malia, what would you like to say?
गुस्सा बड़ा सियाना होता है उसे पता है उसने किस पे आना है. You use it wisely. Whatever you have inside of you.
Wow. And anything would you like to say to your students whom you're teaching right now?
Be honest and be faithful to yourself first. Only then can you be faithful to others.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very well said. Absolutely. I think it was a very interesting program. I wanted to do more, but I'm a bit short of time. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching us. Keep watching my program, Business Lounge. Allah Hafiz. I'll meet you next week. Khuda Hafiz.